Hello, everyone, and happy New Year's Eve to all of you. My name is Jeff Rolka, and this is our weekly live event. I know it seems a bit unusual to have this tonight, and I suspect that it may be a rather quiet evening, which is totally fine. But the chat is open, and I'm here not only to answer questions, but if anybody wants to share any thoughts for the changeover from 2016 into 2017 and what you are perhaps thankful or grateful for that happened in 2016 or what you were able to do, and maybe what you're looking forward to in 2017. Speaking for myself, I don't tend to make New Year's resolutions per se, but I definitely go through this period in the month of December and even to a certain extent November, getting near the New Year's, when I tend to think a lot about what I've been up to and how things have been going. Happy New Year to you too, Eduardo. Welcome. Happy New Year to you, JC's Radiant Ray, and everyone. welcome. I start thinking a lot about the sorts of things that I want to see in the new year, and just what has occurred in 2016. Heidi, it's actually been a lot warmer. It's actually been a lot warmer today and yesterday than it was. But in England, if it's warm in the winter, then it's super gray and misty. Um, so it's a mixed bag. You have to. I'm certainly grateful for the warmth. But boy, when it's cloudy like that, it's tough. It's tough for me. I definitely like the sunshine. That's the California in me for sure. Alex Hager, love you, dude. You've been instrumental. Pardon the pun. I love puns. To my growth on vocal tracks. Happy to have you with me in 2017. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Drayden Taylor, Funtio, Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to you as well. I'm really glad the videos are helping you. That's wonderful. King Julian is saying hello, and Taped Together, and Carlos Estrada saying Happy New Year. A lot of Happy New Years. Just Happy New Year, everybody. This is so wonderful. Alex Hager, if you could remember one video or a few of yours to warm up exercise daily for a male tenor, which would you recommend? Awesome question. Let me just finish I wasn't really expecting that many people, and maybe there'll be more time for this as we carry on. So I was kind of almost expecting to be, talking to myself a little bit tonight. I'm very glad to see you guys popping up, though. It's lovely. And actually, I have a few questions from this week to address, but I'm so grateful for all of you in 2016. I truly, truly am grateful. If it were not for you, then we would not be sitting here having these lovely conversations and sharing these warm welcomes. And not only am I intending to keep on going well into 2017 and for as long as I'm going, for that matter. But I really want to make an effort to up the ante in what we're doing here on the channel. So like I said, I don't make resolutions, but one of my intentions is to start doing, and as I mentioned, I love puns. Although this is more of an alliteration thing, I want to start doing Music Theory Mondays, where I'm going to start releasing like a short little clip talking about our system, the Western tonal system of music. And as it comes up, I'll incorporate some other aspects into it that work well. Like, we did a video on the Spanish Phrygian scale this year, that it's different, but it still works within the Western tonal system of music. So I want to keep on doing the warm-up videos and the quick tips and things like that and releasing them. I might shift that release schedule to Wednesday, so just be forewarned. And I'm certainly going to be here on Saturday nights doing our live events, because I love these events. And I want to start doing Music Theory Monday. I think that would be a really, really cool thing. So yeah, that's where I'm going with this whole thing. Now, the daily tenor warm-up. Now, so there's one called the daily warm-up, and that one is really good. I reviewed that video not too long ago, and I was kind of surprised. That's one of the earlier videos from the channel, and that's a really comprehensive, good warm-up to do. The diaphragmatic warm-up covers both baritone and tenor ranges, but in terms of an overall practice that's going to address engagement issues, I think I'm very, very happy with that video. I'm very happy with the way that it incorporates those breathing exercises into the practice. So yeah, that's where that would be going. Sorry, I got a little bit. There's so many lovely wishes. Thank you. Happy New Year to Karina and Robert McRae. Looking forward to more learning in 2017. Awesome. Heidi's got snow and minus temperatures. We got minus temperatures a couple days ago, but no snow. It's just frost, like hard frost on the ground. Karina is lovely and warm in Hong Kong. That is awesome. I think it's already the New Year in Hong Kong. Am I correct about that? Happy New Year. Mateo is saying hello. And Drayden, I'm going to visit England in the next year. I might go to the Royal College of Music. Fantastic. I worked with someone recently who was going there. Mark is asking if marijuana is bad for a singer. Well, okay, so I'm not a doctor. I do not actually know. But I know that even from speaking for myself personally, when I'm even in the presence of like smoky things like that, I mean, let's face it, guys. I played in rock bands for a long, long time. I've been around marijuana smoke. Just saying, right? And even the contact from it, for me personally, like my nose, it just becomes like an entire block of snot that will not, it's like Gandalf at the Balrog, you shall not pass. Like nothing is going to get through my nose for whatever reason when I'm around the combustible items like that. Perhaps I'm a bit allergic. I don't think of myself as having allergies, but not experimenting with smoking, I probably just haven't really explored this. Not that I'm going to. But my main concern for you, of course, are all the risks associated with that. And again, I'm not a doctor, but it seems to me like in inhaling combustible items like that, you're taking a lot of risk with free radicals in lungs, and if there's a lung cancer thing with there. I don't know what the difference is if you did like the volcano thing that vaporizes it into a sort of baggie, and then you would be able to then take it at a cool. I don't know if you can take it at a cooler temperature. There was a video called I think it was called Super High Me. It's on Netflix, and that's what he was doing to avoid smoking the combustible item. But listen to your body and listen to your voice and see what happens to you. And let that dictate. And you may try to get some professional opinions on these things, because again, I do not really know all the ins and outs of what that's like, or the greater issues with that sort of thing. Jeff, how are you? I'm doing quite well, thank you. So I'm most likely going to sing lots of choir later on today. And I had a question on how not to strain my voice, not to run out. Strain or my voice not to run out. It's going to be a lot. I mean, watch your airflow and stay hydrated for one thing. If you're in cold conditions, wrap up, depending on where you are. But a lot of not straining is what you did in the days and weeks prior. If you've maintained a good vocal practice throughout most of 2016 or in the months preceding this, then hopefully that practice will become habit, and you will, again, if you've not been straining in your practice, then that will apply to your performance. That would be the main point, but you can't go back in time 2 months and get your daily warm-ups in. So the main short-term things to look at there are engagement and airflow. Make sure that you're well supported. Make sure that you're staying warm if you're in a cold climate. Stay hydrated if you're singing for that long of a time. Additionally, with choir, hopefully you're in a vocal range which is appropriate to your fosh. So in other words, if you're a baritone, they haven't put you on the tenor part. If they've done that, then just try to be lighter, perhaps more cricothyroid dominant, blend with your section as you head into those areas that are not perhaps so comfortable for your vocal fosh. Striker, Happy New Year, my friend. Happy New Year to you too. Karina, can you please tell us how we can get your guidebook? It's going to come out in 2 weeks. Cool, huh? Yeah, it's done. It's finally done. And I am going to release it in about 2 weeks' time. I wanted to, when I realized I wasn't going to make it before Christmas, I thought, well, we'll just wait until January. But it will be available on jeffrolka.com. If you want to know exactly, like when you want to be one of the first people, then if you're not already on the email newsletter, go ahead and get on the email newsletter. Quite frankly, I'm gonna be releasing several videos exclusive to the newsletter in the run up to the release of the guidebook that are going to be pretty valuable, not only in terms of using the guidebook, but also just even if you don't get the guidebook, it'll be really valuable information on how the channel is organized and how you can more easily find the things that you're looking for. Because I realize there's like 440 some videos or something like that on the channel, and that's a lot. That's a lot, and I purposely set out to make sure that they would all retain their usefulness indefinitely. So it's not as if any of it is a throwaway. Some of it may not necessarily be appropriate to your skill set, or they may not be necessary for you right now, but someone else can certainly use the video. So anyway, I'm going to talk a lot in a couple videos about how the channel's organized, things to look for, all that kind of stuff. Regret, good. Drew Allmark. Run Drew, a question. Oh, Run Drew, thank you. If you have a cold, flu, or fever, what do you recommend for maintaining the voice? Is singing while ill a good or bad thing? I just did a video that came out on kind of that topic today. It was released earlier today, and it's about what to do when you're sick and you have to sing. Rule of thumb. If you cannot vocalize over your secondo passaggio, it would be better if you did not sing. It would be better for you to take time off. If you absolutely must sing, if you have no choice, then the video talks a lot about different stuff. Everything from mild kinds of this will help you get through the night, so to speak, to if you're really having issues, then these are some of the drastic, and I say that several times, there are drastic steps that you can take in order to get through the gig. And then someone immediately commented with this awesome list of things that I had utterly left out in terms of vocal maintenance. Now, vocal maintenance, saltwater gargle, room temperature or slightly warm can be very, very helpful and can be very soothing for the voice. Some people like tea. I'm really on the fence with that. It depends a lot on your personal physical makeup. Some teas may work great for you. Some teas may not. For me, I take boiling water, I steep just raw ginger in it, and I add a little bit of honey and literally like a drop or two of lemon. Little honey, little lemon, seriously small amounts, right? And then I let it get a little bit cooler. I don't drink it when it's super hot. And that I find very soothing. But beyond that, you really have to judge how much damage all the mucus, and if you've been coughing a lot, that's what gets me, is all the coughing. You really have to judge how much inflammation and damage you've got going on with your voice and see if you can really do it. Room temperature water is always good. It's going to keep you hydrated, and that's going to help move and thin the mucus off the vocal fold so that you can use your vocal fold more effectively. And then we start getting into drastic things like changing keys, altering arrangements. If you're in the video, I talk about if you're in a cover band, like kind of cueing your audience and then holding the mic out in front of them so that they fill in the line. All of those things can work to reduce the wear and tear on your voice in the gig and help get you through the night. Happy New Year, Bhavya. Thank you. Carlos, I love music theory. Me too. Me too. I think it's awesome, and I think the more that we work on that sort of thing, the more it enhances our overall musicianship, and that's what I really, really want. That's what I really, really want. I just want us to be the best musicians we can possibly be. Myself, and everybody. Like, it feels such a gift to me to be able to teach and to work with people in this capacity, and with the videos, and with people privately, and with people in all this stuff is just such a lovely thing. So yeah, that's the idea. Bhavya, a question. Can we do humming exercise when we are on vocal rest? Well, technically, if you're resting your voice, then you have to be the judge of how much vocal rest. If you're under vocal rest by the doctor and they say you shouldn't be talking, then no, you should not be humming. That is still phonation. If you're really just wanting to gently kind of move things around, like it's on your rest day, you want to make sure that things stay limber, you keep the mucus moving around, and maybe a little bit of really light humming, but it's got to be super light. It's easy to be very heavy with a hum. But if I'm trying to just stay limber, just very, very light. Karina, music theory, great. Can you do some videos on how to sing particular songs? For example, the prayer or Ave Maria. Yes. Well, in a way. I did a couple of videos where I used songs that are in the public domain. So I think I used Take Me Out to the Ballpark, and I used Danny Boy to illustrate some principles for singing things, technical things. I don't remember what the focus of Danny Boy was, what the point of that video was off the top of my head. With Take Me Out to the Ball Game, it was skips of an octave, so wide intervals. What I can do, and see, the thing is that using public domain songs, that means I don't get into trouble with copyright infringement problems. I don't have to try to get permission from anyone to do the videos. And I realize this is a bit of a gaping hole in my channel. I haven't yet, operative word yet, I haven't yet done a lot of actual, songs. What I can do is, one, I can check for like songs like that. I don't know if they're in the public domain. If they are in the public domain, then I can do that, and I will make a note of it now. And since I cannot multitask, I have to be quiet while I write. I can check to see if those are in the public domain, and if so, I'm happy to do it. If they're not, what I can do, and what I meant to do this, I meant to do this in the other videos, and then I just forgot, is what I can do is I can take a look at those songs and see what skill set is required vocally to execute them. So off the top of my head, I can't think of anything, but I can take a look at it. And then identify a song in the public domain that addresses those, and then use them that way. And so that's what I would do. I know it's a little bit convoluted, but I really don't want the channel to get into copyright infringement strikes or anything like that. And I can't really get any information about how to get permission for these things. And when I have tried to get permission, I just get threatening letters from like Universal Music Publishing Group and stuff like that, telling me that bad things will happen to me if I do what I'm asking permission to do. I'm not asking to do it for free. I'm asking them to find out like what the sync licensing would be like. And, they're not particularly inclined to talk to me. So that's fine. Karina, yes, New Year counted down already 2 hours ago. So in Hong Kong, it is 2017. We got a couple hours, almost 5 hours, 40 minutes here in the UK. Alex, thanks for that. I've been doing a great job growing my belt's chesty tone, but I'm looking to develop a softer, sexier tone and combine that with smooth head voice. Tips to strengthen that. Well, first of all, how to sing in head voice video is a good way to get started. And how to sing high notes, parts 1, 2, and 3, goes through the entire process for making a smooth transition through the secondo passaggio. If you've been really focusing on your belty, chesty tone around the zona de passaggio, you're going to have to learn some additional stuff and learn to back off of the weight on the thyroarytenoid muscles in your zona de passaggio. That is, those two things don't go well together. So you're going to have to incorporate a little bit of a different approach to the thyroarytenoid dominant singing voice in order to incorporate the smoother transition. But, these are all things that are part of the professional singer's tool chest. It's not as if we only want to ever use head voice for our upper register. Now, I do recommend that we not belt more than a major second above our respective secondo passaggios, and that's for a sort of health and vocal maintenance standpoint. Ultimately, that's up to you, but that's my opinion on the matter. And so yeah, but really, I would begin with those videos, and a lot of it's going to depend. That's the main thing, is you're going to have to address again your approach to the thyroarytenoid dominant singing voice in the zona de passaggio. That will probably be one of the key things since you've been practicing your belting up to this point. Capone, hello and Happy New Year to you as well. You are sober, almost. A little white wine with food, lovely. It is World War III now in Finland. Too much rockets. Ah, right. I was like, what are you talking about? I have no fireworks, not too old, and our cats are afraid of them. It seems reasonable enough. Well, I haven't shot off any I haven't shot fireworks in such a long time. Not since I was growing up in Michigan, really. In California, it's too dry. So they're a big no. Though I've been, of course, to some of the events in San Francisco, which are quite lovely. But welcome, Capone. And Capone, thank you so much. Again, I always forget about the station identifications, but rather than station identifications tonight, what I'm going to say is, thank you all so much again for your participation here at the live events and also throughout the channel in general. Every time you watch a video, every time you share a video or you share the channel with somebody, it really, really helps to keep these things going and keep things happening. And the growth has been absolutely stupendous this year, and it is all down to you all. So thank you very, very much. Monsieur Maubet, hello again. I hope you had a great Christmas, and I wish you a very happy New Year, and likewise to you as well. Happiest of New Year's to you. Karina, performance techniques videos are great. An excellent question. That actually brings up a point that I meant to address. A couple questions I mentioned that were that came in, and one was, you have a quick tip or other video on how to work a microphone, and are there differences to be considered when using studio microphones versus those in live performances? This is a really cool question. And I've talked about the SM58, which is on the channel, and I've talked about the Shure KSM32, which is a kind of like, it's a professional microphone. I consider it a sort of mid-tier vocal mic. There's a lot of different vocal mics that are out there. You see the KSM32 used a lot in bluegrass for instrumental stuff, but it was one of the first large diaphragm condenser microphones that I purchased to add to my studio microphone collection. And the quick tips are really good. The main thing with stage mics is you want to check them at a reasonable volume, and you want to stay to within an inch. You can see this microphone here is a stage mic, and I'm staying very, very close to it in order to make sure that I get a good response from my voice. If I'm going to sing something that's loud, though, I have to make sure I back away from it, or I can go off axis. I think that was still probably not enough for that mic, for this mic. But the two main things, you do have to work the mic, but I can do better videos for that, and I'm going to add that to my list of things to do this year as well. So quick tips on working the mics. And there are some differences. Studio mics are very, very sensitive, and oftentimes we end up cutting parts of songs separately depending on how loud the vocalist is going to be. So if they're going to do something that's very soft, then we'll open up the gain a little bit so that they can be very close, and it gives you that very close, intimate sound that is so lovely on a recording. But when they go for a very, very big section, rather than have them move so far away that we lose all the proximity effect of their voice in the microphone, we'll tone the gain down a little bit. Sometimes you can add some compression in line in order to make sure they don't clip going into the recording system, but that has a bit of an affectation on the voice, which isn't always desirable. So Karina, that's a great. I'll happily do some more performance technique videos. That's really a great suggestion. Thank you. Mateo, I was wondering what to do so I can be able to sing high and loud, kind of like Mumford & Sons. Yeah, I was just listening to Mumford & Sons tonight. Oh, this is awesome. I did not realize. I'm so cool. It's so cool that so many of you are joining me this evening. Mateo, the voice is a non-linear instrument. What that means is that if you try to force it, you can push on it to a certain degree, and then it becomes self-defeating because there's so much muscle tension in the oral cavity that the tissues dampen down the resonance, and we don't get that big, luscious sound. So in order to have that nice, big, lovely, high-sounding voice, it's a process of staying released, having appropriate airflow, and having appropriate resonance in the voice. So, for my practice, I'm making a transition to the staccato passaggio to stay loose up there. Making that transition means I can keep the air moving through things. That's too high for me to belt without getting really clamped down on those high pitches. And furthermore, when I'm squeezing that much, then the rest of the oral cavity is not giving me as much of those sympathetic vibrations that are going to make this voice sound bigger and bigger. So the short answer to your question is stay focused on your airflow, stay focused on your vowel alignment in the thyroarytenoid dominant range of your voice, and work towards making a smooth transition into your upper register. That will allow you to carry as much of that resonance and as much of that nice airflow and openness into your upper register. And that flow of air over the vocal fold is going to create ever-increasing vibrations. The vibrations will sympathetically vibrate within the oral cavity, and you get that nonlinear, nice, rich, big sound to your voice. Drayden Taylor, what are the most prestigious programs, colleges, in England for young American vocalists such as myself? The Brit School is what I would recommend you check out. That is where Adele went to school. And you would most likely find yourself just in amongst all sorts of people that are really, really swinging for the fences, if you know that expansion. Expansion? Expression, excuse me. Yeah. The Royal College of Music is another good one. LCCM, the London College of Contemporary Music, is another place that has a lot of good things said about it. And there's another place that's right down in central London, but starts with an L. I I can't quite, I want to say Langley, but that's not right. Anyways, that's another one that you can find that has a lot of great stuff going on for it. But the Brit School is the main one. And I don't know what the, well, actually, you know what? No, that was the London College of Contemporary Music. I just looked at that website, and they take international students. I don't know about the Brit School, but you can check it online and see what the audition requirements are and whether or not they accept international students. I would assume that they do. Karina, I have been doing your warm-up exercises for mezzo soprano for the past 2 weeks, and they are very helpful. Looking forward to more. Awesome. I am going to do more. So we're gonna work together on that one. Jeff, all this week I've been training with your videos about endurance, and like magic, this Saturday I was able to do a really nice G above middle C. Wonderful, Eduardo. That's awesome. Thank you very much for your tips, Jeff. You're welcome. That's awesome. Monsieur Maubet, something that I hear from a lot of people is stay away from cold water and drink lukewarm water. I hear from countless people that cold water will freeze the voice or shock it, but I just don't get it. Cold water has never caused me any problems. Well, I think everyone's going to be a bit different on that one. Personally, I try to avoid really cold water when I'm singing, especially when I'm performing. But everybody's a little bit different, and everyone's voice is a little bit different. So for you, it may just not make any difference, and that's great. That's one less thing that you have to concern yourself with when you're performing or when you're just doing your practice. But that's wonderful. That is, however, I mean, I've said that. I think I said that earlier in tonight's live event. To just take room temperature water is usually the way I refer to it. And by that I mean comfortable temperature. Sometimes the room temperatures here in England are not very comfortable. Mikia. Yeah, Mikia. Jeff, how are you? I need help with my breathing when singing. What do you suggest? For starters, I would check out the Appoggio breathing video of mine that is available on the channel. And that goes through my breathing technique. It's not my breathing technique. It's just the breathing technique that I've been trained in and that many people employ to sing effectively. I am a huge fan of this. So I would check that out. Full disclosure here, it is going to say things. It is going to say things that you will have heard the absolute opposite of repeatedly. The main one is that you should be sticking your stomach out to inhale and then sucking it back in when you begin singing. Don't take my word for it. I would suggest you check out Shirley Emmons. Shirley Emmons has a very, very concise webpage on breathing for singing. I would check that out and do your fact checking. But the Appoggio breath management system is what I teach. It's all in that video, and I would start there. From there, you can start working on the diaphragmatic warm-up if you want to start practicing some of those exercises into your warm-ups. Also, the tonal onset video is a good one for that as well. Isaac, some teachers of SLS say that we don't use the diaphragm for sing, and if you practice the diaphragm, only get tension in the stomach. Hello from Mexico and Happy New Year. Hello from England. Welcome. Okay, that's cool. I mean, in one sense, I agree, because the diaphragm is an involuntary muscle. So you cannot directly control the diaphragm. You can't make it skip, jump, or, deal a hand of poker or something like that. What we have to learn to do is use surrounding musculature to influence the behavior of the diaphragm. So, yeah, many people are very successful with SLS, and if in the past that has worked for you, I don't think that the teaching there and the kinds of things and the way that they're approached on my channel are mutually exclusive. But just see how it all goes. The funny thing, of course, about that is that the SLS teachers will often, very frequently, use lip trill. And I've had many, because I've worked with them over the years, where I've taken lessons with them. And you have to engage in order for that to work. If you don't have any kind of muscle engagement, there won't be a consistent enough airflow for the lips to maintain that flappiness. So, I think a lot of times in vocal techniques, we're repackaging a lot of what everyone else is teaching. We're just using different terminology and taking a little bit of different viewpoint on it in order to, we all learn in different ways. So the information conveyed to one person one way may be useless, whereas to another it's perfectly comprehensible and comprehensible, and they do fine. So there's these different schools of thought. But yeah, pick and choose. Find what works for you. Karina, can you explain more about Fosch? I'm not familiar with this term. Fosch is a German expression for the way that we classify vocal ranges. So what most people call a vocal range, soprano, alto, tenor, baritone, we would call the Fosch. So there are a variety of sopranos, and the Fosch of soprano gets subdivided into all sorts of different areas of soprano based upon the qualities of their voice. Same way that I am a tenor, and I am most likely what would be called a spinto tenor. That is my Fosch. To call me a tenor, there are some tenors that we would not sound the same. Our instruments would respond differently in different ranges and have different attributes. Similar thing with baritones and altos as well. So that's what that means. It's just a different way of referring to vocal range. When we talk about vocal range, we're usually talking about the span of notes that one can sing. So I can sing from a X C on the bottom to an X B flat on the top or something like that. The Mober. When I was singing yesterday, I was feeling some raspiness coming into my voice as I hit powerful note after powerful note in a song. It just worried me a little, so I said I'd just inform you. Well, be careful about that. The thing to notice about that is whether or not it's hurting you. If it didn't cause any problems before, even after my singing, but it did worry me a little. Okay. As long as it doesn't hurt, you are probably okay. If you are just getting a little bit of separation of the vocal fold, you might be getting a little bit of ligament, kind of a little bit of vocal fry happening, and that can be quite desirable at some times. But keep an eye on it. Also, it might just be a little bit of mucus flapping around, and if that's the case, it'll just clear out, and that'll be the end of it. David Rumfellow, can you talk a little bit about mask resonance? Sure. Mask, different schools of thought will claim that it's of varying importance. In various genres you'll find it desirable to incorporate more or less of it depending on your genre. So I mostly sing popular stuff. That means that the mask is an essential part of the projection of my voice, whether I'm using a microphone or not. And it is part of what I consider to be my complete sound. If I sing without it, I can sing in tune and it's fine, but it doesn't quite work as well as when I use some of it. Hopefully you can hear when I kind of brought it in there. In my work with primarily popular genres of music, it is an integral part of the overall makeup of the sound of one's voice. If you're in theater, you'll need more of it to project and be intelligible. If you are singing classical stuff, you may use less of it. Perhaps one of the best exercises that I regularly use, and it's on the channel, and I'm going to do a new one because it was requested, is the NG exercise. And it really helps you become aware of that mask resonance and helps you kind of tune it up a little bit. So my tongue is lifted in the rear of my oral cavity. It's blocking airflow, so no air is coming out of my mouth. It's all going up past the nasal pharynx and into my sinuses. get that dialed in, so I'm keeping a nice steady stream of it, I can release the tongue. It's particularly important as we get into the zona de passaggio, which I was just getting into there, because that's going to help maintain the consistency of our timbre as we make our way into our upper register. Let's see here. Okay, JC's Radiant Ray is talking to Ndrew. Ndrew is saying, thank you, you're welcome. Voice 445. Happy New Year, Jeff. Can allowing my voice to slip into falsetto help me to learn to transition my break? My voice sometimes locks. Yeah, okay. So that can sometimes be called throat lock when you can't, like, you just can't get past the secondo passaggio. Unfortunately, if you're letting it slide into falsetto, where it's like a that's counterproductive to learning how to make the transition. A better way to work on the transition is to practice descending patterns. You. Notice my voice is very hollow, very open. You. Notice what it is not is airy. You. And that is because those are fundamentally different ways of using the voice. When it's hollow and open sounding, you, I'm getting an elongation of the vocal fold. The cricothyroid muscles are allowed to elongate the vocal fold, and I get my quote-unquote head voice, what I typically refer to as cricothyroid dominant singing. That airy tone, you, is the ligament of my voice rather than the vocal fold proper. And that is falsetto technique. Now, that can be a nice affectation from time to time. However, if you want to have a strong head voice, that's not the way to do it. So start with descending patterns. Get that hooty thing. If you can't get it in the context of the exercise, and the exercises start with octave arpeggios. You. And this is where you bust out your siren, right? So you've seen those videos where people go, ooh, and they come on down. That is the way to start the process. Ooh, again, not airy. Ooh, is not at all what you're looking for. Ooh. If you find that you can't do that with a siren, then do it with the lip trill. You have to make sure you get into your thyroarytenoid dominant singing voice at the end, because we need to practice that transition. It's of key importance there. Anyways, that's the process for beginning that. It's just that simple. But you have to be patient with it, particularly if you've been belting for a while. Then you're gonna have to work around the habits of carrying the weight of the thyroarytenoid dominant singing voice into that register. Monsieur Maubet, I'm assuming that's there. Is there a vocal warm-up or a vocal exercise video you could do for singing powerful, strong, and rangy songs? Most of what I sing is very little, soft, and lots of power and endurance. Always says yes. You know what? The long scale warm-up is the one that I would direct you to. Those long scales, and this actually, there was another question that I had talking about riffs or songs that make more transitions, that make a couple transitions through the voice. So the long scales, and I owe the channel another video like this. Of really, really long form, longer scales, and wide ranges. Because the thing about transitioning through a variety of our vocal registers is that you have to know where you're going or where you're coming from. Well, you have to know where you're going in all cases. So, for example, if I sing the pattern I sang earlier, I'm getting right up, just about to my secondo passaggio. I'm well into my zona de passaggio on that scale that transitions in ninth. So when I start this thing, I have to know that I'm going high later on. I have to be prepared for that. So I'm kind of carrying myself. I've got a lot of good engagement. I'm keeping some openness, but I'm letting the vowels be nice and narrow as I get ready. I increase the airflow and allow that space to open up as I ascend. And then when I descend, I narrow things down again. And this gives me a nice, consistent timbre throughout these ranges. It applies even more so when we have exercises that transition through the secondo passaggio. For example, here, I'm really focused on making sure that I'm very well connected, very well adducted with the vocal fold, but not heavy at all. It's a very light approach to singing. And again, as I ascend, I'm going to increase my engagement, increase the airflow, and allow that space to get filled as I open up across the secondo passaggio. And again, narrowing as I descend. You can hear I'm still not entirely, thank you, by the way, for all the well wishes past this last cold. But you can hear how, like, in weeks gone by, for a while there, I couldn't sing through my secondo passaggio from all the coughing and phlegm. Now I'm phonating through my secondo passaggio, but it's still not as smooth as I'd like it to be. And I don't have as much room for error through that range of my voice as I will in another week or two of rehabilitation. But that's the thing. Is the long scales go through all that stuff, the longer forms, and I need to do another one of those just to kind of just another fresh video of long, wide range scales. Karina, which textbook is the best textbook that explains about F1, F2, etc.? I'm thinking that I'm not sure what you mean by F1 and F2. I'm immediately thinking about notes on the piano. Please, if you could clarify that, I'll happily explain to the best of my knowledge. Stryker grew up in Michigan as well. I was just outside Detroit. Mrs. Webster, Happy New Year, Jeff. Thank you. Happy New Year to you, too. I appreciate so much the singing when sick video, which is still a difficulty I'm working through. I can dig it. Want to say thank you to you fellow participants. So that's all to you guys. Community appreciated. Absolutely. And I want to, again, say thank you to all of you. Whoops. I'm still scrolling challenged. Whoa. I've got to pick up the pace here. Yes, and thank you all again. Again, it's all been up to you guys. You've made these live events wonderful. 2016 has been an awesome year, and I thank you all very, very much. Blue Third Up saying hello. Gaber, hi Jeff, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. Your exercises helped me a lot to have a better singing voice. Thanks very much. You're very welcome. Karina, if you can do a video about this, that would be wonderful. I assume that was something I referred to earlier. If not, please clarify. Stryker, had the flu for 2 weeks, not singing at all. I have an audition in 1 week. And need to practice the best way in 1 week. What works for you? Start slow, and I would probably do my warm-ups in shifts. So I might do like a short 5 to 10 minute warm-up, and then take a break, do another 5 to 10. The hardest thing about singing when you're coming off an illness is just wanting to rush into it, and you're just not going to be able to do that if you've been coughing and hacking. And I mean, it does depend a lot on how bad this has been for your throat. If you've been coughing with a lot of mucus and snot, then you're going to have a lot of rehabbing to do. But yeah, short shifts, conserve your energy, make sure you're coming at it with a lot of strength. Physical strength, not strength here. Danilo Cruz says, Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to you as well. Blue Third Up, any exercises you recommend from the speech level singing, or do you neglect it altogether? No, I don't neglect it altogether. But the thing is that speech level, to be a speech level singer and to say that you do that, you have to go through like their whole process. And I've studied with SLS teachers for a long time, many years ago. I don't know if I could really say that I studied with them for a long time, but I've studied with SLS teachers, some very noteworthy ones. But I haven't done their thing to earn the certificate, so I can't really. I'm afraid I cannot legally answer that question. But as I was mentioning to someone earlier today, if those techniques are working for you, I don't feel that they are mutually exclusive from what we talk about here on the channel. You can kind of pick and choose what works best for you. Happy New Year, everybody, from Blue Third Up. Robret, instructions on mic technique is good. I'm going to do that. Mrs. Webster, question regarding mic techniques. Should we let the sound person control how much output is coming through our mics rather than pull back from the mic? It really depends on the gig. If you're doing a club gig, the sound engineer is probably not going to be that attentive to you. So my advice is to check it at a reasonable volume, knowing that you got to back away when you're doing something at high volume. They will appreciate it because it's one less thing that they have to deal with. And the last thing you want is for them to lower your output when you've gone big and then not put it back, because that can just mess up your mix. And then if it's, depending on how they've got the monitors working, it can also mess up your monitors. And then it becomes this descending cycle that is bad to recover from. Heidi Baker is talking to Blue Third Up. Banker, excuse me. Blue Third Up. How does the Y consonant help when changing vowels? That Y consonant is often an artifact of tongue tension. So if you've got someone that their vowels aren't very well aligned, you'll really hear it. The more aligned your vowels become, the less noticeable it becomes. But why I will sometimes use it if vocalists are having a hard time keeping the vocal fold adducted on the wider vowels. It can be helpful to paste it to the roof of the mouth and then allow it to come down, and that can help a little bit with that. But in general, I consider it an artifact of vowels that are not entirely well aligned, or an additional amount of tongue tension in the vocalist. Brittany T is in Sri Lanka, and it's just about midnight there. Blue Third Up is saying hello to Heidi. CS Bridge, since I start practicing with your videos, my husband and my children really appreciate that I'm not false all the time. Start to get better, use my voice. Thank you. My husband is a sound engineer. Brilliant. You're very, very welcome. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Mrs. Webster is talking to Eduardo. Karina Chen, how about London College of Music? I'm sure that's good too. I don't know that one right off the top of my head. Stryker is talking to I think that's talking to Cisange. The Mober, this is a weird thing to say, but I'm worried you're going to run out of making your warm-ups, tenors. I love seeing new and different warm-ups, and I love loads of them. Hopefully there can be more to come. Of course there's going to be more to come. There's absolutely going to be more to come. In fact, the only reason well, actually, I just released some new ones last week. Um, my thinking on this matter, it's very much like I mentioned a little bit earlier when talking about different schools of thought around vocal pedagogy, is that there's some of the warm-ups that are going to be awesome for you. And then there's some that maybe aren't really quite that nice. And that's fine. The same is true for everybody else who comes into the channel and finds them. There are some that they're going to absolutely love and some that they're not going to care for that much. And so my feeling on the matter is that I'm going to keep on doing them in the hopes that the channel will be able to serve the needs of an ever-increasing body of vocalists. And we'll just keep on going from there. That's really about as far as I've thought about it. So I would not be concerned about it in any way. I'm going to keep on doing them. And I would just like to do more, quite frankly. So, yeah. Cisange, thanks. When they tell me I don't know that I want to laugh or go sulking. I'm not sure what that is. I think you're probably talking to Stryker. Mober, not that you're not making enough, of course, but I love having new and different kinds of warm-ups instead of doing the same ones over and over again. They're great, but my voice sometimes wants more difference. Of course it does. Of course it does. And that's exactly what I want to do in the channel. And you know what I haven't done yet? And this is actually really cool. It might be in the resonance video, but sorry, once again, I cannot write and talk. Just had I think it's a cool idea anyways. It's very typical in vocal training to go E, A, A, O, and U. We use that sequence and it goes from the narrowest forward focusing vowel, E, which is usually out front, to U, which tends to fall back. And then we practice reconciling those differences to get alignment. And in my private lessons, I will frequently reverse the order, which is an excellent practice, but I don't think I've done that in a video. So there you go. Right off the bat, you can look forward to having a reverse vowel order video coming at you in the not too distant future. Karina, please do a video on chord closure. I think I had a request for that someplace else, and I will do that on chord closure. The Mober, sorry if this sounds... You don't sound rude at all. I know you're not trying to be. It never crossed my mind. I don't think anyone... I cannot speak for everyone, but my suspicion is that no one who's read that thinks anything of it. I'm always very, very open to questions, comments, observations, you name it. It is all good. It is all good. I assure you 100% it is totally cool. So, yeah, all good stuff. All good stuff. Lola, just checking in, taking notes and enjoying. Brilliant. Thanks for your time today. Much appreciated. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, too. And thank you for joining us. Heidi Banker saying, see, and that's the thing, you know, and you know, Heidi, actually, my hat is off to Heidi because, in fact, you know, yes, thank you for bringing that up. I say this all the time, you know, be not shy. It's almost guaranteed that someone else is probably, you know, thinking something similar or wanting to ask that. So Heidi's saying, I'm glad that somebody else asked for more warm-ups so I didn't have to top lamb. I'm not sure what that means, but there you go. So it's all good. This is all good. This is all good. Stryker, on the subject of lip trills, specifically super lip trills, I have nothing to grab onto to pull cheeks out. Is there another super lip trill, or am I stuck doing the tuba buzz? That's a really interesting question. Could you just stretch backwards? Like if you put your fingers on your cheeks, that's hard. That's challenging. That's really cool. Maybe just you know, put your hands on your face and gently, very, very gently kind of draw back. Karina's thanking me about the Fosh. You're very welcome. I'm glad that helped. Striker. Oops. Striker. Oh, wow. I'm way behind. Oh, I didn't have to. Got it. Striker saying, you make us better, and as such, also our lives. That's wonderful. What can we do for you to return the favor? Yeah, I don't know. Keep watching is awesome. Tell your friends is awesome. The channel's open to fan funding. That's always nice. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. That's really it. But yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, like I said, fan funding is always appreciated. Not gonna lie, it helps. It really does help. If you want to do that, there are other ways to contribute financially, and you can get in touch via Voice Lessons SF, and we can sort that out. But sharing is wonderful. And by that means, telling your friends or sharing links and stuff like that. Watching, thumbs up are always lovely. All those things are just wonderful. Thank you for asking. I truly, truly appreciate it. Karina, thank you. Thank you very much. That is very touching. Danilo, hi. I don't want to be rude, but Jeff has tons of warm-ups or workouts. But are we using it right? Are we doing it right? We can ask for warm-ups more, but maybe we should focus on what we have now. That's true as well. There's, in one respect, but yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Thank you. Striker, can you do some dummy diagram for the technical names you mention? Something like when you say cricothyroid, somehow show it works when going into that range. I know, very technical, but helpful. That's interesting. This is another way that you can help financially, and also get something too. If you mean like a glossary, I'm not sure if you mean a glossary or not, but I wrote an entire glossary for commonly used terms on the channel in the guidebook that's going to get released in a couple weeks' time. So that could be something too. Heidi Banker is talking to Danilo. Blue third up. In a minor sixth skip, like from C up to A. Okay, so C up to A and A minor. Okay, so from a C to an A, even if you're in A minor, the interval from C to A is a major sixth. Now, A to C, when you invert that interval, is a minor third, but a minor sixth above C is going to be A flat. Can adding a note in between so it becomes C, E, A, good idea for practice purposes? Yes, that can be one way to practice it. Another way is to practice it in reverse. The video on octaves goes through this where I'm singing octaves, but here, practice it down first to find out where you're coming from in an openness, like how open and how much airflow you need for the top, and how much you're going to narrow as you descend, and then you practice reversing it. You can certainly break it up into a type of arpeggio. That's cool too. But the main thing is start it by work from the top down. Moving it around in keys can be better too. So like move it up a half step, major second. Work your way around it a little bit. Daniela's saying, really sorry, didn't want to offend. My point is just we should warm up or work out with purpose, not just doing it. I don't. Again, I cannot speak for everyone. I don't think anybody got offended. I hope not. I know that was not the intention behind that. So I think it's probably cool. I think we're all cool. Everything is cool. F1 and F2 referring to formants. Blue Third Up is what, and Karina's saying yes. I will have to look that up to refresh my memory, honestly. Because the one that I'm thinking of mostly is the Singer's Formant, and that's the one that I've mostly discussed in the past and I am most familiar with. But I will look up Formant 1 and Formant 2, and I can talk about it. Maybe I'll talk about it next week or something like that at the beginning of the live chat. X Kryptonic is struggling with singing a little bit. Keep at it. Keep going. You don't get better by stopping. But maybe start at some of the beginner stuff. That's really foundational work, and get in there. I do have to wrap this up, so I'm going to take what I've got left on screen here, ending with Heidi, and then I'm going to go. Gray Guitars 1401. Are you familiar with any techniques or practices that might be good for mariachi voices? If not, then maybe some tips for vibrato. At times I worry I'm forcing it. Yeah, easy to do. There's a video on vibrato. When I've heard mariachi, incredible, like incredible music, and like the big, huge ensembles and vocalists. You need a lot of airflow to have that kind of power. So I would definitely check into the airflow videos, the arpeggio. But specific beyond that, you're also going to need a lot of Singer's Formant, as I just mentioned, to get through and project over those groups. So think about looking at the Singing in the Mask, talk about resonances. Think about the arpeggio video for airflow, and the vibrato video to make sure that you're approaching it the right way. Stryker asked about the dummy diagrams, and I concur. You have wonderful technical terms, but sometimes I have to hit pause and look them up. Sorry about that. Okay, fair enough. I will try to reiterate the commonly used terms then more frequently in the videos. That will at least that'll at least bridge that gap. And then there is a glossary coming out in the guidebook. High fives to Strikers from Mrs. Webster. We cheer you on as you prepare for your audition. Indeed, I'm with you on recovering. We look forward to hearing how it went. Absolutely. Please do tell us how it goes. Song, it's a Hungarian name and it's not how to pronounce. Oh, sorry. Eduardo, I have to go now. Eduardo, I hope you're not gone yet. But anyways, Happy New Year to you. Thank you very much for all of your contributions. And we'll see you again. I don't know what that is. Have a happy and prosperous New Year. Feliz prospero año nuevo. Oh, JC's Radiant Rays is saying that to everybody and writing in a variety of languages. That's awesome. That is so cool. Eduardo, Happy New Year. Mrs. Webster's cheering on the guidebook. Thank you. And Marcos, thank you for all the videos and the hard work. You're very, very welcome. Thank you very, very much. And I don't want to pronounce it because I know I'm saying it wrong. My name is a traditional ancient Hungarian name, and I know it's nearly impossible to pronounce for somebody who doesn't speak Hungarian. Call me Rose. That's what you use in English. I will call you Rose. Thank you, and I'm sorry that I mispronounced your name. And you're very welcome. Thank you for mentioning it. And thanks, everybody. This has been an amazing, amazing year. I am so happy to have shared it with you. Thank you for sharing your time with me here in the live chat. Thank you for sharing your time. Thank you for studying with me on the channel. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your contributions, in your kindness. For those of you that have shared some of your financial gifts with me, is very much appreciated. Thank you all so very much. I appreciate what you bring to the channel. And I want to wish you the happiest of New Year's. And here is to a 2017 filled with singing and music and study and all the things that that are just going to make our lives that much more richer. Happy New Year. Thank you very much. Take really good care of your voices. Enjoy singing. And I'll see you next week. Bye.